4,
Yes, ma'am.
when you're ready.
We're going to present how to demonstrate successful leadership in the workplace. So my name is Clayton,
AJ, Aaron, Esteban.
and we are going to be breaking leadership down into communication, engagement, and using your resources. So a real quick question: who can give me an example of a good leader in their life, whether it be a coach, a manager? Anybody? No one's had a good leader in their life? Oh, we won't back there.
My BCom teacher.
BCom teacher. Okay. Now can I have a bad example of a bad leader, someone that
Definitely not this BCom teacher. Previous boss.
love the humor, not what I'm looking for. But long story short, in my life, I've had a lot of leaders that can look back on and say they did not do a good job, that they were lacking in areas. So we decided to focus on how to become a good leader, whether it be in the workplace or other endeavors. I'm going to hand over to Esteban. He's going to get us started today.
Okay, so a good leader should be able to communicate with their team and coworkers. And one of the few things that I wanted to point out was leaders should be able to understand what, how, and who. They should be able to answer what is the issue at hand, how can it be solved, who am I asking to take action, what are the possible obstacles, what tools I will need to provide to make the process easier. They should also be able to solve conflicts, and they should be able to resolve the conflicts and address them immediately before a toxic environment comes out of it. And they should be able to give praise where praise is deserved, and they should be authentic instead of just having an empty gesture. I'll hand it over to.
So we had a slide mix up there. I'm sorry for that, but so I'm going to go into reinforcing the message and understanding the backgrounds and perspectives in the workplace. A big part of that is going to be repeating key points. As a leader, a lot of times you have an end goal in sight, and you have to communicate that. That's the biggest thing about being a leader, being able to communicate the end goal and what you want to do to your coworkers. And key points is a big part of that, whether it's at the end of an email or the end of a meeting, keeping the most important task at hand in their mind, because that's what they're going to remember, and that's the last thing that's said. Another big time is give time for digestion. So if you're asking a question to somebody, give them 5 to 10 seconds to answer and think about their response. That goes two ways as well. As if you're the listener, don't immediately raise your hand and think that you have the answer. Maybe sometimes the speaker wants you to dive a little bit deeper into whatever topic they're discussing. Another big part about reinforcing a message is asking for feedback, making sure it's clear, making sure that the way that you portray the message makes sense. And also that goes the other way as well. If you are the leader and they have questions, give them a breakdown. So I think of it as it's like a cookbook. When you're making something, you know the cake you're making, but they give you step-by-step instructions of how much of one ingredient and all the ingredients to get. Do that as a leader. It's your job to find strengths and weaknesses to make your department and your coworkers work cohesively. Also understand perspectives, the strengths and weaknesses part. And I would have a story. I'm gonna save that. And to end it off, on the NACE top 20 skills of what new employers or of what employers want, having written communication skills is number 1, and then verbal communication skills is number 7. So communication is very important to a lot of employers. I'm going to hand it off to Aaron.
All right, so like you said, communication is obviously one of the top skills. It's, I would say, the foundation of when it comes to being a leader, but not even just a leader, just being a part of a team in general, so it could go both ways. So now I'm going to talk about the engagement aspect of being a leader. So that could go with keeping the team updated, which means basically everyone, you've been a part of a project where there's a deadline, no one said anything, it's the last day, and y'all rush to put it together. Kind of. But you got to keep the team updated. Someone has to step up to make sure everyone is on the same page when it comes to what y'all are doing, what you're trying to accomplish, and when it's due, when you're turning it. So when it comes to being a leader, obviously everything goes, if you're the leader, you're obviously stepped up, but not everyone can take on the role of being a leader as easily as everyone else, so that would come with encouraging feedback. So obviously you're going to talk to the people and you're going to be leading them, but you want to know how to lead them or what you need to work on when it comes to telling them what to do. You want them to be a part of the team basically. So telling them what you're doing wrong, telling them what they're doing wrong, but trying to make it seem like you're not bashing on them when it comes to that. So it's really give them cool when it comes to that, the encourage feedback part. And then like he said, when it comes to communication, is really considering the strengths, weaknesses, and interests of the team or of your coworkers. So obviously, me personally, if I'm not fully interested in something, I'm not going to give my best effort. So that comes with considering the interest. If someone is truly interested or intrigued by something, they're going to go all for it. They're going to increase the productivity when it comes to that task. If there's a weakness, say they're not very good. So I'm an IT major. I'm learning how to code. Obviously, coding is not one of my strong suits so far. So obviously, I would put that under my weaknesses. And if someone asked me to code something in a project, I would tell them I'm not the guy for that. And so that's how it goes. And really, engagement. I know everyone has an idea of what engagement means, but the textbook definition of engage is participate or become involved in to establish a meaningful contact or connection with. So I think that really go hands in hand with being a leader. You obviously want to reach them on the same playing level. You want to be on the same page, like I said. But you want to make sure they're a part of the team. And like I said, I have a personal story. Really, it's not that much of a story, but it's just everyone's either been a part of a team or played a sport in high school, even now. So being in high school, I played basketball. So my freshman year, I was a new student basically at my school. My coach pulled me aside before the season started and told me that I was his guy. I was supposed to lead the team for that. So I had to figure out what that meant to be a leader, how to really reach out to everybody, to make sure they heard me, to make sure they would listen to me and trust me when it came to leading that team. So like I said, I had to keep the team updated, tell them, hey, we need to go hard in practice this week. We have a big game this weekend or this week. Or encourage feedback, tell them to let me know what I'm doing wrong, if I'm not speaking up, if what I'm saying is not interpreted the same way I feel like it's said. And then consider the strengths and weaknesses and interests. Like I said, the strengths and weaknesses really go hard with being in basketball. I'm not going to have someone, if they can't shoot the ball, I'm not going to really have them sit on the three-point line to where we need to score the ball, where that's going to be effective there. And then, like I said, weakness when it comes to really, me personally, if you know anything about basketball, I'm a very bad on-ball defender, which is guarding the person with the ball, if anyone doesn't know. So I would not guard the person, their main ball handler, because my weakness would be defense. So I would communicate that with the team and pick which one of us is the best defender, put him on their main player. And that's how we go about the game. So it's really with being a leader, you have to establish that game plan, make sure everyone is on the same page. And so if you can't communicate and you can't engage with them, then really you can't use your resources to the full potential, which is what AJ is going to talk about.
So I want to talk about resources and where you can attain some of these leadership skills we've talked about. In the workplace, executive seminars are one good source, but you want to stay away from trainings that are based on like lectures that are just handouts of pamphlets or presentations, because you're not going to retain that. You want to find seminars that are more active learning and engagement based, so that's how you're going to retain that information you're learning. And you want to find trainings that are going to incorporate discussion and allow the practice of the concepts that are taught and set presentations. So some of these actual quality seminars can be found mostly at colleges and universities. Some are online, but live practice is way more valuable than stuff that you'll find online. The one I prefer is finding a mentor. If you're more comfortable with this option, you can get your leadership info from a person who already utilizes it in a leadership role, like a for example. It doesn't have to necessarily be someone in the same industry, but it is crucial that they have the leadership style that you want to learn. Wisdom and experience is important in looking as traits that you're looking for in a mentor. Sorry, but being comfortable spending time with this person is also equally as important, I think. Like I said, a coach would be a good mentor probably, but you can also find maybe a prior boss or a professor or a coworker or family member could also make a very good mentor, as long as they have the leadership skills that you wish to be taught. And then we can go into
Yeah, we're missing our fifth person, so he would have to next.
He would summarize.
Yeah.
Included.
That's on here.
But we talked to you about communication and engagement and resources.